Very good afternoon. After having had two sessions, or rather, this is the fourth session since morning, and listening to various aspects of education and accreditation assessments and other things, I have been given to speak on a topic which takes into account the linkages between education with that of employability. Employability from the perspective being a student of economics. I do not consider myself to be professor at the university teaching economics, but something which is associated with the various or little aspects of the broad functioning of economics. I would like to just interact with you in 1-2 sentences in Urdu and then come to have this thing deliberated upon. Professor Allama Iqbal, the great Urdu poet, spoke and said, "Bartaraf andeshaye sudo-zaya hai zindagi. Bartaraf andeshaye sudo-zaya hai zindagi. है कहीं जा और कभी तस्लीम जा है जिंदगी तू इसे पैमाने इमरोज व फरदा से नाना जावेदा पैहम रवा हरदम जमा है जिंदगी। मुश्किल नहीं है सर, कहने का सिर्फ इतना मतलब है कि व्हाट इज लाइफ, what do we live for? What do we get out of life? How do we get out of life? These are some typical questions which we ask ourselves unconsciously. And to all of us around, we think that education is a tool to answer these questions. The first aspect of this very thought comes into our mind, and let me tell you that when we talk about education, all of us are very enlightened and educated people in this room, but just I want to inform you that education is different from literacy. Rates of enrollment, number of enrollment, dropouts, higher education, school education, all these things are nothing but what we talk about, the issues of literacy, not with education. Education is a way of life. Everything associated with, directly or indirectly, your living process is education, and that is why it is said, तालीम से जाहिल की जहालत नहीं जाती, नादान को उल्टा भी तो नादान निकला। तो कहने का यही मतलब है कि किस हद तक आपका इल्म, आपकी तालीम आपको कनेक्ट करती है। Now my next aspect is, how do I associate, or how do we associate education with that of employability? Not being philosophical, not being too poetical, simple answer to this is that in terms of the cost-benefit analysis, it must be remembered that education is a long-term investment activity. It takes a longer period of time to qualify various processes and aspects of education and call yourself employable. And the more you are qualified in terms of the so-called certificates and degrees, and thereby it enhances your possibility and opportunity to attain that particular position. Now the second aspect, very important aspect of education is the cost of education. We are fortunate to have in this August gathering amongst ourselves some of the Vice Chancellors of the premier universities who will definitely let us know that what is the cost of providing a single lecture to a student to a developing country like India. I do not consider it to be either a very developed country or a very underdeveloped country, but a developing country to India. The cost of providing education on an average ranges between 10,000 rupees to somewhere up till about 70 to 80,000 per lecture hours. Can India afford it? Is India ready to afford it? So the cost of provision of education in terms of the planners, policy makers and donors and providers seems very high. But then, if you calculate the benefits of acquiring the education, because education is a long-term investment, you will find that the benefits of education far exceeds the cost of education. And this is one important economic benefit which is taken care of by the immediate wage earner, salary earner, work earner, name what you may. The second important aspect, it is unconsciously again, the fact of the matter is that education helps a person attain better economic status compared to a person with not having educational status. You may completely disagree with me, for the simple reason is that there are various examples, obscene number of examples where you find that people without the so-called degrees and so-called education qualification are the ones who are earning and making lots of money. But no, please try to understand that when we talk about the levels of earnings and the contribution which it goes into the individual, immediate family and generations to come, has also to be based on two important principles, the two important principles of economics called the need-based system and the value-based system. Are we just taking into consideration the need-based system, or are we looking out for value-based earnings? This makes up a lot of difference. The third important aspect which I am interested in sharing my thoughts on is that it has been 65 years since independence, 65, 67 years since independence. And does it take a country almost about 40 years or 45 years to declare through its policy programs a program called Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan? I'm not talking about higher education, I'm basically interested in talking about very elementary and primary education. You will be surprised to find that Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan program, that is universalization of education program for the common people of India, was announced in the early 80s. Does it take 40 years for a country which is bound to become or bounded with constitutional requirement that it was a welfare state? This was a peculiar state. It does not mean that we did not have educational institutions. We had educational institutions, and in the morning we also learned that we were the first among the countries of the world to have best of the university systems. But when it comes to universalization, because ours is the only constitution which talks about equality of women and men across, but compared to the best of the or the most advanced countries of the world, they do not have this equality which India enjoys. But why? this basic necessity was missing. This is one point to ponder. Second important, similar on the same line, it took another 14 years, by 1994, to declare compulsory primary education for the girl child. Girls, women, female population contributes toward 49% of the population. Why should this 49% population of the country be deprived? My last point, again to ponder, and I would like to get responses from my esteemed members, is that we have been talking of innovations, and we have also been talking about the beautiful role, the excellent role, the immediate role, the very essential role of technology in terms of accreditation for our educational system. But my main concern is there is a huge lack of coordination at the policy level. For the simple reason is that you may announce to provide free laptops to students, being a chief minister of a state, but if that state does not get electricity supply for 22 hours and your laptops do not get charged and they do not work, so it is absolutely a question which you will have to answer. The coordination must come from not just Ministry of Higher Education or Ministry of Education or Ministry of Human Resource Development. It must come from all the 15, 16, 21, 31, whatever number of ministries that you have. If India wants to attain a qualitative growth of the economy, for the simple reason is that, please remember that India is the second most populated country in the world, and the best of the resource to any country that can be have is nothing but human resource. And human resource can make wonders if provided an opportunity. And please take it from me, ability without an opportunity does not make any sense. It is always that opportunity must be provided for ability to function. Thank you.